Do you know what is this public intellectual space? In fact, it is that state of a society where people are given all right to practice thinking based on reasoning. There is no restriction on thinking, on holding opinions, ideas. And what is a special feature about this practicing of intellectual space is that this particular is often independent of authority, which also means that a person who practices this intellectual space in a society has a right to question the authority or the orthodoxy. Of course, they can do it, but the only reason they are allowed to do this is that it must be based on reasoning. This is not a new term, by the way. It has been a part and parcel of every society from Europe to East. So we have names such as Socrates, Plato, all of them described this very idea of public intellectual space because these people stood against authority. Now when we come back to East, we have number of figures. Swami Vivekananda is one of those. When we go back to our history, the first person who using this intellectual space in a society is one whom we know as Gautam Buddha, the one who stood against the Brahminical concept, the concept that Gautam Buddha thought to be superficial, and he fought against it. He fought superstitious, he fought against all evil practices which led degeneration to a society. So public intellectual space is a very positive practice. It is quite optimistic, but the problem arises when the public intellectual space is questioned, it is threatened against or by any authority. Remember, when a society is not given this very space for the intellectual people belonging to an academic to raise question, to think ideas and have a different analysis on things, the society never develops. We have had lots of examples. Let's take an example of Europe. This all development and the luxury and the inventions are nothing but the result of this public intellectual space, because at one point of time, people, those who hold this intellectual wisdom, fought against the established orthodoxies of the European Catholic or Catholicism, right? And they raised question against it. They tried to understand things from different perspectives. They introduced those perspectives on the basis of reasonings and made it acknowledged on the basis of the power of intellectual through discussions and debates. This is the power of intellectual space, right? One more thing that many philosophers, even the historians, say that intellectual space is not just one aspect of a progressive society or a seminal force, you can say. It is more than this. People also say intellectual is one kind of your heritage. So we have number of heritage listed down, and if anything has to be